Alrighty, guys, what is going on? Corbin with Corbin's Cornhole Reviews. Back today for another episode, and we have the Allcornhole Game Changers. Gotta do it. You guys know me if you know anything about what I like to throw. This is not what I like to throw. They're not for me. I really don't like them just overall, but I understand why people do, and I figured I'd review them. Big shout out to my buddy Chris. He loaned me these so that I could review them. These are a non-stamped Gen 3, but they are all stamped now if you get a new set. They have the OGs, the Gen 2s, and the Gen 3s. There's subtle differences between them, but prices change drastically between them. So if you're interested in that, check them out, ask around on the forums and stuff. But they're good bags. I am just not a crazy fan of them. I'm not a crazy fan of the feel, how they play, just overall, but we'll get into all that. I'm not trying to completely bash them because a ton of people do like them. So, price on these guys, we have, I believe they're 110 or $120 for 8 on the site. And secondary market, I mean, you're seeing 4 go for $70, if they're new. Depending on the generation, it's going to change everything. But if they're a new Gen 3, stamped, maybe $70, somewhere around there for a new set, used sets, actually probably pretty similar to shipping and all that. But they're not crazy expensive and they're just super readily available unless you get an older generation. The break-in method on these, Chris just threw them a ton. And they're super broken in. They really are. Not quite as floppy as some of the game changers I've seen, but that's okay. Me and floppy bags. But they are still super hole friendly, and I don't really have an issue with that. Speeds, we have a 6 on the slow side and a 10 on the fast side. Now, game changers are interesting because it's got that 10 material on the entire bag. And the slow side just has this patch. The patch is a suede patch. It's a 6. It takes some getting used to. If you've never really thrown them, you can kind of feel it when you're holding it on the slow side. Fast side, not really a big deal. You might feel it on your thumb. But I'm a slow side thrower. I feel it all the time. Luckily, my hands aren't like totally calloused and rough and crazy and stuff because that might grab it. I've heard that issue from people grabbing the stitching and all that. Personally, I don't like one material, one speed, and then the rest of the material another speed. It's just kind of weird to me. The patch also tends to kick, I've noticed. So that's just me, but kind of what I've heard from a couple different people. So 3Fs, we have fill, feel, and flop. The fill is kind of medium. I mean, it's not bad. It's the same fill as like an all slide. Like this is basically an all slide with a patch on it, in my opinion. But I actually like all slides way more than these, interestingly enough. But the fill isn't terrible. It's just kind of loose, kind of blah. Feel wise, I always say that it feels like throwing a damn couch pillow. And I don't know how they're ACL approved. They just feel so much bigger than any other bag, and they probably just push that boundary of the specs. Maybe once they're broken in, they just get a little looser and a little wider. I don't know, but they're a big bag. I mean, it's a ton of bag to hold when you're throwing them. Flop on these, they can get floppier. These are still fairly floppy. They can definitely get floppier, but game changers are a very floppy, very hole friendly bag, typically. Playability, we're going to go with blocks and pushes. You're going to be able to slither around backdoor, drop it in on the fast side. You're not really going to get between bags the way that like Vipers and pro snipers and stuff would. These are just a little too big to me, and if that suede catches anything, it's just going to bring it in with it. The suede does hang up on the hole sometimes if you get it caught, but more often than not, it's actually going to fall in because it's pretty hole-friendly bag. So let's get into the tossing. And down in the comments, actually, if you don't mind, let me know if you guys like a longer breakdown in the beginning or if you like a shorter breakdown with more throwing. I try to keep all my videos like 10 to 12 minutes, somewhere in there. But if you guys want to know more details about bags, or if you just want to get the spiel done and then watch me throw, because I'm going to talk about them as I throw anyway, And then some people have also asked, my boards, Cornhole Solutions, they're freaking phenomenal. I have no issue with them. They were cut perfectly. I have this cardboard down under them because my driveway actually slopes toward the camera a little bit. So I had to make it just level with the other side so I have basically even playing field. And then I do have a slight wind blowing into my face, so if I'm front boarding on this side, that might be why, or if I'm lushing them too deep, that might be why, but I know you guys can hear it. I know you're used to it, so let's go. Slow side here. Patch side, should I say. Fast side with the patch. And of course, I'm going to just start 4-bagging, and people are going to be like, ooh, you should throw game changers. Like, no, I actually shouldn't throw game changers. If I airmail and make this one, I'll go buy a set of game changers. How about that? Darn, missed. No game changers for me. Just the wind in my face. I it's interesting to me how I actually just threw those fairly well. I can throw four in the hole, or I can throw four off the board, and that's how I play with game changers. And that's kind of my problem with them overall. I don't throw them consistently. I don't like the way they feel, so I'm pretty inconsistent with them for the most part. Stayed kind of closed there, didn't follow through. Did it again. Like they're not that bad at bags, you know. I'm not trying to just talk smack on them and be like, "Oh, game changers are the worst bag ever." I mean, I'm gonna get the comment of, "Well, see how many pros use them," and I'm gonna respond with, "Well, see how much they pay the pros." Flipping to fast side here. You know, if I was sponsored and game changers were all that I could throw, then yeah, I'd probably throw them. Don't really have an issue with them that bad, but it's not my first choice of bag to throw. I mean, they're so huge, and it amazes me how hole friendly they are with how large they are. But there they go. You know, brings them all in. Yeah, threw a little hard, you know, but it actually hit and stayed on. The patch side does tend to kick for a lot of people. Depends on the boards for me. On my boards, it doesn't seem to really happen. I played game changers on some boards where no matter how I threw it, it was kicking hard right. Doesn't matter how flat it was. It was kicking. Oh boy. There's the front board. I'm just going to say that was wind, even though it was all me. But they climb up, they fall in. You don't really, front board. Yeah. Trying to sally it a little too much. Just need to loft them a little bit. Get them to loft and just climb up the board by themselves. Got some pretty dark, ominous clouds that way as well. That's coming from the west. That might be coming for me. Yeah, we had a chance of rain today, but wanted to throw anyway. Let's go back to sticky side here. Front board. That was wind. Funny enough, it actually was wind. Like, I'm not kidding. I saw it knock it down. But see, this is game changers. I mean, I throw, you know, three in the hole, go for an airmail, whatever. Next round, I throw two completely off the board. You know, that's how I throw with them. I'm not really a very consistent player with them, and that's why I tend to avoid them. A lot of people like them. I know that Frank Modlin just got he had a whole patent thing going on. Jeez, certain bad companies were kind of mimicking the Game Changer patch, and he put a stop to that. He said, "Nah, I'm gonna go slick side here, launch off the board. I'm gonna go slick side again." Yeah, barely caught the bottom of the board. That's why it flipped over. I feel like I'm kind of playing fast right now, but my neighbor hasn't come out to talk to me yet, so that's part of it. You know, I'm always on borrowed time, unless I've already talked to her. Slow side here. Fast side. Slow side again. Totally missing. See if they airmail. They kind of airmail. Hit the back of the hole. Stayed on. Not not terrible. I mean, I don't hate the bag. I mean, I do hate the bag, but if somebody wanted to play with them, I probably could. Slow side just gave it a little too much. Can you hear my daughter crying because she's not allowed to come play with me right now? Stick with slow side. A little too much again. Let's go for the airmail. Ah, that's twice that's happened. But they're not terrible bags. I I don't absolutely hate them, but I'm not gonna go buying a set. They're not for me. You know, they're too big. They're a little too loose feeling in the hand, and I just don't throw them particularly well. But a ton of people love them. They are decent. It's just not decent for me. So that's the short and sweet on the Allcornhole Game Changers. If you guys like this video, please give me that thumbs up, subscribe, share it with your buddies, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks.